How you doing, guys? Jeremy here from To The Dispensary, and welcome to our CBD episode. Now, full disclosure, if you're coming in to see us get high, it's not happening on this episode. I apologize. I did that before to get ready for this. So again, full disclosure, we're not getting high. We're simply talking about CBD on this episode. First, let me explain the sunglasses. This is my fourth attempt to shoot this episode. The first two, I came off sounding like a pompous dick because I tried to do them sober. And the third attempt did not record any of the sound for some reason. Still cannot figure that out. So this is our fourth attempt. We're in the middle of the daytime, and I can't see in the daytime without my sunglasses. So that's why we have our sunglasses. Airplane. What is this happening? This is the second time where an airplane's circling and an airplane is landing at the same time. There's still an airplane. This is like the day of airplanes. We're talking about CBD today because I had a friend text me about his experience with his animal. He had a Great Dane, an older Great Dane, and she was having a lot of issues with her hips, issues with eating, and he was thinking he had to take off some days from work to be with her for her last days. They gave her damn it, dude, because I just realized I didn't bring the vet CBD with me. This is a nightmare. He started her on a 10-to-1 CBD, so 10 hits of CBD to 1 hit of THC. Very, very small ratio. The THC is in the CBD to merely activate the CBD system to receive the CBD. And we'll explain that in a second. However, he said that almost immediately he could notice a change in her. And he was texting me updates, and he just, man, this is amazing. It's like, for anyone who is a doubter, please let them know I'm a believer 100% in CBD for pets. And it reminded me that as a bud tender at organic as a bud tender at Organic Solutions of the Desert, we hear that all the time. And it was just stories like that all the time. Why this works. Okay, so two researchers in Jerusalem, I believe back in 1992, were trying to discover why THC affects us the way it does. And what they discovered is that we have a CBD system, an indigenous CBD system, which means it's native to us. We're born with it. Two receptors, the CB1 receptors and the CB2 receptors. Now, the CB1 receptors are tied directly to your central nervous system. So you just have to picture there's all these little dots all running out throughout your body, all these little points. And the CB1 receptors are tied directly to your central nervous system. The CB2 receptors are tied to your peripheral nervous system, your metabolic tissue, and your immune cells. So when you take CBD, you're strengthening the four major components of your body. That the CBD system is exactly like your stomach. Okay, you're born with your stomach, you're born with your CBD system. But just like your stomach, you cannot feed yourself. You need food from an outside source to make your stomach happy, just like your CBD system. You don't produce your own CBD, so it needs to come from an outside source. Now, what does your stomach do when you're hungry? It tells you. It growls at you. It says, hey man, feed me. Your body tells you. The CBD system is the exact same thing. In the headaches and the aches and the pains, the everyday things that we normally don't get, that's what CBD takes care of. And that's how you know. Airplane. Damn, man. Some people can't have dairy. Some people can't have red meat. Some people can't have a lot of juice. You know what I mean? Like, you've got to figure that out. And the CBD system is the exact same way. You've got to figure out what works for you. You have to think of it as a series of locks and keys. Okay, just like it. Jesus fucking Christ. I'm sure that got on film. It's a series of locks and keys, and you have to find out the right thing that works for you. And what I mean by that is, your lock will not fit in my key, so whatever works for you will not work for me. Whatever my key will not fit in your lock, because whatever works for me may not work for you. There are two different types of CBD. There's the hemp CBD, and then there's CBD derived from THC. The difference between them is the hemp will not get you high. The THC won't always get you high, but you most likely will pop positive on a drug test. So what's the difference? In hemp, there's 0.3% I get this right. There is less than 0.3% THC by law in hemp. So the way that I heard it is that you would have to smoke 24 telephone poles to get high off of hemp. It's like 24 poles to get high off of hemp. But by then the smoke inhalation would kill you. Whereas the THC will always have 0.3% more, and you will always most likely pop positive on a drug test. The dispensary by law can only carry things that are derived by THC. They're not allowed to sell hemp products. That's a whole separate industry that you can find in Hemp City. Little mom and pop holistic stores, they're doing that now. Most stores that are selling it in Rite Aid, they're derived from hemp. Mostly because that is federally legal in some states. You have to check in your area. And again, you can't get high from it, so there's really no danger. You're just using the hemp for therapeutic reasons. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a nurse. Okay, I'm only giving you my opinion. These opinions do not reflect the views of my employer, or they only respect mine. Okay, you should always seek out a doctor before you start anything like this. Okay, hemp is mainly meant to be industrial. It's meant to make bags. It's meant to make ropes. It's meant to make textile tools and stuff like that. You're going to get the more medical benefits from stuff that's derived from THC, just because THC is the greatest. No, what the hell that was? What did I read? The CBD is the greatest anti-inflammatory in nature, while THC is the greatest pain anesthetic. I'm not sure if I said that right. If you go into a licensed legal dispensary in California and you ask for CBD, it's gonna be derived from THC, and you will pop positive on a drug test. No matter what they say, that's the truth. Because again, legal dispensaries in California can only sell products derived from THC. They're not allowed to sell hemp-derived products. Those are two different they're two different not companies. They're two different. Oh my lord, two different industries. Okay, they're two different separate entities altogether. There's a whole different set of rules for hemp, and there's a whole different set of rules for THC. The number one thing that we heard that I would hear in the shop is that, well, it's not working. I didn't get immediate relief. Like, no, unfortunately, you're not, because your CBD receptors have not been used in an extremely long time. You have to imagine that there's just these receptors in your body that are just covered under layers and layers of dust, and it's going to take time. What I will say is that if you've been taking CBD and you've been taking hemp-derived CBD, and it's not been working for you, try a THC-derived CBD. Disclaimer: I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. These are my own opinions. So please don't do that if you can't do that. This is just for people who have tried it, who don't have problem taking drug tests, and want to get better results. On the ratios, if you can do it, I would start with the 18-to-1 or the 20-to-1 ratio. That's a good dose where you probably will not feel the THC. You could probably jump to a 10-to-1 and still maybe not feel the THC, maybe hit you like a buzz on a cup of coffee. But again, everyone is different, so keep in mind, vodka hits me differently from how it hits you. You know, beer hits you differently than it hits me. So keep in mind that that's how this thing works. It's a series of locks and keys, and you've got to find the right key to fit the lock. So I hope I covered everything here for you. I hope you guys enjoy these videos. Thank you for stopping in. Thank you for liking. Thank you for the comments. Please hit subscribe. We need that YouTube currency to keep this thing going. And as always, guys, stay high and be easy. I'm gonna put this at the end of the credits. If you stick around at the very end and you watch them, we're gonna be upgrading the cameras here, we're gonna be upgrading the cameras, and it's gonna look good. I didn't even do anything. I didn't even do anything.